What I've tried to do in Washington, D.C. is focus on full pro-life policies, educating women on stillbirth prevention. I've worked on legislation to increase maternal health care access. There are 6 counties in Iowa's first current district that are maternal health care deserts. We need more access to providers. So I'm trying to increase making sure that we can have more midwives available, making sure that we can have over-the-counter access to birth control. I'm pro-life and I've always supported exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, fetal anomaly. I do think that it's important to at least stand up for some babies, at that pain threshold, that 15-week threshold. I just supported a bill that I think would set a standard for that with exceptions, and I'll continue to support those kinds of pro-life policies in Washington.
I would be protective of reproductive rights. We have heard from a majority of Iowans who want their rights protected, and I would support that. In Iowa, we have a 20-week ban, so the 3rd trimester, there is no abortion. It is illegal in the state of Iowa to get an abortion in the 3rd trimester. But we want to make sure that all maternal health rights are there too. We want to make sure that there's health for people who have ectopic pregnancies, or they miscarry, or there's a fetal abnormality. And we want to make sure that those who are going into the medical profession, if they're a resident in OBGYN, that they don't have to jump through hoops for requirements to practice maternal health. So it's a wide array of things, including contraceptives.
Now, beyond just what the candidates say, we wanted to know how they've both actually voted on abortion and reproductive health bills. During her time in the state Senate, Democrat Liz Mathis voted no on these bills. They include a bill to stop state funding of abortion, a bill to ban abortion after 20 weeks of pregnancy in Iowa, and a bill to ban abortion once a heartbeat is detected. Now, looking at Ashley Hinson's voter record during her first term in Congress, she voted no on the Women's Health Protection Act. That's a bill that would essentially legalize access to abortion across the country. Hinson has also co-sponsored 16 bills, all of them looking to restrict abortion access. That list of bills includes the Life at Conception Act, which would ban all abortions with no exceptions, and a bill to ban abortion after 15 weeks that does include exceptions for rape, incest, and the life and health of the mother. Stacey.